I have to say, Paul Theron has actually had a very good week of positive news. I must commend you for that, because for once you're right. So fantastic coordinated action globally. And not only that, we had fantastic non-farm payrolls numbers and a good unemployment level in the US at 8.6%.
Yeah, you know what this is going to mean about 2012, of course, is that Barack Obama is likely to get re-elected. Because every time that unemployment number comes down, people feel a little bit more like they can breathe and so on. Key number in the US, they don't pay any attention to anybody else's problems, only their own. But, I don't think there's big hiring yet. It's still kind of at the margins. Apparently, you need like 200,000 a month or something before you can decisively say that, joblessness is declining. So we will have to see how it goes. But I was rather disappointed by the stock market close here. But then
because we're down 0.5%, and everyone else was up quite significantly, or up 1% to 1.5%.
So what's that about? That's nonsense.
Well, I know that you want to blame the local currency.
Yes, but that's what I was thinking as I was driving here, is that the rand was at like 8.60 to the US dollar, and it looks as though it's kind of at or around 8 or just below.
Yeah.
So that's a big move. That's like a 6 or 7% move, and so that's going to take the edge off, but we'll see how we play next week.
So congratulations, Paul. Did you buy Lululemon? Did you? Yesterday. So Lululemon is a company that operates in
it's a Canadian company, ex-Vancouver, yoga clothes.
And it dropped 15% yesterday. We were discussing this, and then I think Paul went out and bought.
So I bought $5,000 worth of stock at, like $44. They'd fallen from 50. So, it was a classic case where their earnings were only 16% higher on revenue that was only 30% higher than the previous period, which is obviously terrible. Yeah. But, it was in a case where you could say, well, the market's probably a little bit of an overreaction. So now they're trading higher. They're back in the 50s.
And you're up 12% today.
12%.
Is this on light volumes, the move to the upside?
No. It was heavy volumes. This is what you want to see.
Corporate disasters of the week.
Yes, now it's Friday, so we always like to end the week on a lighter note. Yes. So there have been a couple of standout corporate disasters this week. The one which you may have heard of is Coca-Cola decided that in keeping with the theme of global warming, they were going to take their cans in North America and put pictures of polar bears on the side of them and then make them white. But within a few days, they discovered that sales were plummeting because people were saying, but this is Diet Coke that I'm buying, and now it doesn't taste right, and now it's got sugar in it. So they stopped buying it. So the company said, well, screw global warming, we're going back to the original brand, which is not very nice, given that there's a big conference on in Durban and so on.
We're all used to specific colours. And any other corporate disasters?
Well, the other one which you probably have heard about is the Durex South Africa. A lot of companies are deciding now to use Twitter as a kind of extension of the brand. So what they do is they find somebody who's like 22 years old who works at an ad agency, and they say, right, Bruce, you're in charge of social media this week, so we want you to popularize the brand. So apparently some guy who was working at an ad agency got on the bleeper for Twitter for Durex and started putting out, clever messages like, what have men got, that appendage for? And you can just imagine the kind of furor that it caused. Massive outcry from feminists everywhere. Terrible jokes. Then they decided to dig in a little bit deeper and say, no problem. People must lighten up and have a sense of humor. Anyway, after about 2 days, they apologized, fired the guy, backed down, so on and so forth. These sorts of things. Not exactly a brand extension, you'd have to say.
Well, I must say, very dynamic week, I must say. Paul, next week, anything in particular that you're looking at?
More good news. More good news.
Yeah, let's hope so. Good news is always great. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining us.